Good morning, YouTube friends and family, and happy New Year's Eve. I hope you all had a blessed Christmas. And if you have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day plans, I hope you're staying safe, well, and healthy. So I decided to put up my video on an off day because it being the day prior to the start of No Spin January, I thought, some of you may want to have this recipe to actually prepare for your first week of No Spin January. So I was all set to do the video, and I failed to mention when I was talking about it earlier that it calls for cottage cheese, and I was like, that's no problem, I always have cottage cheese. Well, my cottage cheese was a science experiment. So needless to say, I was very disappointed in myself, but the cottage cheese had not expired, so I'm not sure why it grew that lovely green fur that it tends to do. But at any rate, ran up to the store, we're back on track. So let me swing you around and we'll get started making my version of protein waffles. Now, if you do not have some of these appliances, if you will, don't stress out about it. I'm sure you can use a blender, number one. I use the NutriBullet just because I use it a lot for protein shakes and I know it works really effectively. So I'm gonna start out by putting a cup of oatmeal into our NutriBullet cup, and you do want to use the big cup if you're using the NutriBullet, otherwise just into your blender. And I use whole oats, or what you see on the label is old-fashioned oats. I do not use quick oats, with the exception of some like cookies and things like that that call specifically for them. One advantage of whole oats, especially steel cut oats, is it's thought to be more effective in lowering cholesterol, which I have struggled with. So I'm all for anything that's gonna help me with my cholesterol. So to that, you want to add some baking powder. You want to add 1 teaspoon. So I will level this off so that we don't have ginormous coming out of the waffle iron waffles. And just a little update, if you watched my pantry organization video, I am loving these lock-in containers. I love having it alphabetized. I no longer feel like I'm on Wheel of Fortune spinning that lazy Susan trying to find stuff. Alrighty, so if you're using the NutriBullet, go ahead and put your blade on. And there's other ones that aren't called NutriBullet, but whatever blended up device you're using. Now this gets really loud, so I'm gonna pause you for a minute. I'm going to whirl this up until it's fine like flour, so hang tight. Okay, so what you will end up with is like a floury looking substance. And if you don't have old-fashioned oats, you can certainly use quick oats. They do work, and I have done that in times past. Now, to that, I like to add a 1/4 cup of my preferred protein powder. So not being a chocolate fan, I always go for the vanilla. And I'm a big fan of the Lady Boss Lean products. However, what I have left on hand is what I have left on hand because it is absolutely cost prohibitive for me. I think it's up to like $70 a bag. Many moons ago, I had sort of an auto delivery thing set up. It wasn't nearly that much. It does last a long time. It's the best protein powder I've ever tasted, but there are other good protein powders out there. So 1/4 cup of your favorite vanilla. I've never tried to make it with anything but vanilla. Design flaw, this scoop never wants to go back in there. We'll just set that aside. So I am just mixing all of my dry ingredients here in this little bowl with my Danish whisk. And now we're gonna go back to the NutriBullet, and what we're going to add to that is your choice of either 2 whole eggs, 1 egg and 2 whites, or just 3 whites. I have tried it with all whites. It's okay. It's a little better with at least 1 egg yolk, my opinion. We are also you know I can't have everything the first time. Oh my word. We're gonna add half a cup of cottage cheese, and this could be any type, small curd, large curd, low fat, high fat. You know, in one of my earlier videos, I was talking about planning saves money, and this cottage cheese is a prime example of that. By not checking that, I had to go to my local grocery store, which used to be called Super Value, and my son always called it Super Ripoff because the prices are outrageously high. So yeah, this is like my sacred cottage cheese, and I will eat every bite of it. So in here so far, I have an egg, 2 whites, half a cup of cottage cheese. Now we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil, and the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons. Let's see if I can do this without slopping it everywhere. Okay, and so that's probably around 2 teaspoons. Oh my word. Okay. And the oil just helps it cook so much better. And I'm just reaching back and turning on my waffle iron. You also want to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla. Or you could use another flavoring. You could use maple, whatever suits your fancy. So, oh, and the final thing, we need half a cup of water. And then I'm just going to put my blade back on the NutriBullet. I'm going to whirl it all together, and I'll bring you right back and show you what it looks like. Okay, we have a well incorporated liquid that we are going to now add to our dry ingredients. And one of the things I did want to mention, kind of depends on your brand of protein powder, how thick this batter will be. Some protein powders, you need to let them sit a bit because they will thicken upon standing. I mean, I'm sure you've all had a protein shake where by the time you get to the end, you're thinking, I cannot even swallow this. It's like pudding. So I am going to just mix this up well, and I'm going to leave it sit for a few minutes while our waffle iron heats up. So this is just an El Cheapo. I paid $10 for this Oster waffle iron at Walmart. Could not find one at the thrift store, darn it. But if you don't have a waffle iron, you can make pancakes with this. I have done that. What I will tell you is the texture is a little more rubbery than probably your average pancake batter would be. So you may want to adjust the recipe a bit, depending, you know, add a little more oatmeal if you want them a little firmer and less pliable. So I'm gonna let this sit for a few minutes, and I'll bring you back and we'll cook some waffles. All right, we're back. And to show you, the mixture has thickened to a waffle-like consistency. And I usually manage to overfill this, so y'all can laugh along with me. But follow the directions on your own waffle maker. And one of the things I really love about this is it's not dependent on additional sweetener. Personally, I don't like wet bread, so I do not eat syrup on waffles, and I will not eat pancakes. I like crunchy waffles, but I use jam. So the only sweetener comes from the protein powder. So if you used all egg whites as well, that would lower the calories. And it's absolutely tasty. It freezes really well. You can put it in individual portions, wrap it in saran wrap or Glad press and seal is what I like to use. And this will make quite a few waffles. So I'll bring you back in just a moment when this is ready and show you how pretty these waffles are. All right. Look how pretty our waffles are. So one thing you may notice is they're a little softer and maybe even more cake-like than what you're accustomed to. They're very tender. I always have trouble getting these out. Okay. out they go. Well, not the prettiest job, but as you see, very, very nice waffles. So usually because they have all the protein powder in it, I don't feel like I need anything additional except maybe a little cottage cheese or fruit to even up my protein level more. But these are a great addition. Usually you have those staples in your pantry. I'm very blessed to get a lot of eggs from my local food pantry that will usually last me the entire month without a problem, and it's more eggs than I'm probably going to eat, so I do a lot of baking and cooking and such. So the waffles is a good way, are a good way to use those up. So I hope you found this helpful. Just a couple other things I wanted to bring up. Don't forget, as you're planning for No Spend January, that unless you drink only tap water, don't forget about beverages. I used to be, believe it or not, a huge Coke Zero person. I used to drink soda like crazy. And I just decided it wasn't healthy and I was going to quit. And so now, I'm sure you've often seen the container over here of iced tea brewing. But don't forget, if you're doing your last grocery run before the actual start of No Spend January, to plan for some beverages that are economical. Next to that, I just wanted to share my half gallon of almond milk all ready to go. So I've been busy this morning cooking and planning, and I kind of like this menu planning stuff. I see why y'all do it. So at any rate, oops, another waffle ready. Be healthy, be well, be blessed. Have a wonderful New Year celebration, and I'll see y'all real soon.